Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I am back with another autism related video. I wanted to talk about religious education for special needs children. I know that there seems to be a lot of autism parents that I have been running into that don't seem to know how or where or how to even start to look for religious education for their child with autism or even any special needs. I will have to say it did take me a little research to find a church community that that we can all attend, including Michael. So I thought today I would start by sharing some of the ways that we teach Michael religious education, and some tips and some information about just in general how to get your family back in church again if maybe you've been shying away, just worried about how your child will be in that kind of environment. But I'm here to tell you that it can be done. It does take a little bit of planning and a little little faith, but it can, you can be back as you can be part of your church community, whether it's somewhere that you've always been attending or somewhere new, like we had to reach out to find. So I just wanted to give you a little background. I have notes here. I'm not going to read all of these notes, don't worry. But I did want to give you a little bit of a background, just so you know a little bit about our family. So first, if you are new here, welcome. My name is Joann. I'm married. I have twin boys. They are almost 11 years old. They'll be next month, May. They're going to be 11. I can't believe it. My son Michael has autism and is nonverbal. And he is just, I don't even know how to describe him. He is just always smiling. He's just a really good boy. Despite the disabilities, I would say that Michael is a pretty happy boy. So for this video purpose, I am Catholic. My husband's Catholic. We are raising our children as Catholic, and we attend a Catholic church. So there are so many different religions under Christianity. So I'm hoping that this is helpful if you fall in any of those categories. Regardless of the religion that you belong to, it is my hope that you seek out a way to find a way to bring Jesus into your child's life, into your family's life, and yours as well, because it has been a great help to have my faith to get us through some rough times as an autism family. It's not an easy journey, and having your faith is really sometimes the only thing that gets you through a day. So I wanted to tell you about my background. Like I said, I am Catholic. My mom was a CCD teacher for over 25 years at the church that we attended growing up. It was a small community church, and it's just been the place that we've made our sacraments, as well as where I got married. And occasionally we still go back. We have masses in my mom's name. So it's a church that I felt really a part of their community. And I will say it has been a long time since I felt that way. But we are in a church now that I feel like that we belong, and I'm happy, to have found it. So when the boys were born, of course, we did have them baptized, and we had them baptized in a church that is actually maybe a couple blocks from where we live. At that time, we did not know Michael would have an autism diagnosis, and we wanted to have a church that was close by, that we can attend, weekly masses, and that the boys can grow up in. So this is one of the reasons why we chose this parish. And as time went on, after the baptism, I really didn't give it any thought, because I didn't really need to at that point, really. So, we attended that church, and it was a church that I would say, it's not that it was an awful church, it was just so big. I never felt really comfortably like at home like I did in the church that I grew up in. So when it came time, as Michael and Alex were getting older and starting first grade, I knew that I wanted to start them in a religious program. In second grade, as Catholics, you I'm missing the word here. You are going to make your communion. So I knew I had to get them started at first grade. When I reached out to the church that we had belonged to, they had no special needs religious education program. And I can't say I was surprised, but I honestly, up until that point, really didn't consider that they wouldn't. Autism was fairly new for us at that point, and we were still having a lot of adjustments. So I know that, I just didn't give it any thought that, Michael wouldn't be able to, attend class. I just, I knew that it would be, different, but I just didn't think that it wasn't possible at the church that we were attending. So let me move forward. After speaking to the religious education director at the church we were going to, she kind of told me about another church here in my town that she believed had a program. And the church was not as close by, but I mean, it's not, 20 minutes away or anything like that. It really isn't. So I reached out to them and I spoke to the director at that church, and I was so happy to find that they did have a program for special needs children. So Michael and Alex were going to be starting at the same time, obviously being the same age. And what she had informed me about was that the class that Michael would be in would be a 1-to-1, unless, there was more than one child at the same age studying, starting at the same time. That she was a former special needs teacher, and her lessons would be ABA based, and it would be about a half hour to 40 minutes, depending on how much, Michael could tolerate at that time. Remember, he was 6 years old at that point, and just really, at that point, he's about 4 years into ABA. So it was still, still kind of a struggle for Michael at that point. He was still, trying to, we were still trying to work through, the autism and the therapies, just all of it. So she told me to, give her a call and talk to her, and that she'd give me more information about it. So I was so happy at that point to be able to find a church that was in our town that was able to do this. So I called her right away, and I spoke to her on the phone for probably almost an hour that first time. It was just such a relief. I don't even know how to explain it. But she was very nice, is a very nice woman. Patient, kind, knows her stuff. She's been a wonderful teacher for Michael, and I couldn't have asked for anybody better. So that September, we started to go to CCD, and what we would do is Michael, would come with me. Alex would go to his CCD class. It was at the same time, which was perfect. And our first few sessions, or actually probably about the first year, I think I wrote, Michael's home ABA therapist would attend with us. And that turned out to be great because, our home therapist, Stephanie, was able to, keep Michael focused. And between both of their experience with ABA, Michael was able to start learning about our religion. And I often get questions, how do you teach them this? So this is the other reason why I wanted to do this video. So the first year of CCD went great. No problems, nothing whatsoever. I am going to show you and give you some examples of how we teach Michael, but I want to get to the second grade class, which was the communion class. Now, I've heard a lot of autism families say that they don't think that their child can make any sacraments, communion, confirmation, obviously maybe not marriage. I don't even want to say that, you never know. But I'm here to tell you that yes, it can be done. It can. My mom, when she taught CCD, taught the communion class. And this is why it was so important to me, because I know that, she would want to see Michael be able to make his communion regardless of having autism. And, I was just determined to get it, to be able to do this, for him and for us and for my mom. So we started the second grade class, which is starting to prepare you for communion. And we started with learning how to do praying hands. And, it's just, a very simple, obviously, but we were able to do first hand over hand to get Michael, teach him how to do praying hands. He has learned the sign of cross by standing behind him, hand over hand, so he knows which way to go, and then saying praying hands, and he puts them together at the end. It did take a while. It was not 1, 2, 3, but it did take us probably a few months, and Michael can still do it to this day. Well, what is it? 4 years, almost 4 years later, 3 years later. So that is how we taught him to do praying hands and the sign of the cross. Now, there is a lot of preparation for communion. There's also the penance ceremony, which is when children are going to confession for the first time. Obviously, for obvious reasons, Michael, being nonverbal, was not able to do that. However, he was able to attend, and at the penance ceremony with Alex, and that went very well. Again, being in a church, I know it's sometimes a little difficult to imagine sitting through a mass, but the earlier you start, the easier it gets. And there are so many churches now that have private rooms. not private rooms, separate rooms, I should say. Some have clear glass, so you could still see the altar, and but most of them, you know, are just where you can hear it, and sit with your child if maybe they're having some, you know, sensory or anxiety issues that they need to be, you know, taken out of the mass at that time. We don't have that at our, you know, church, but, you know, my husband is the, the person who usually takes Michael out and, you know, just sits at the back. I should rephrase that. We sit at the last row, the last pew of our church. And that is mainly because we know there are going to be times when Michael cannot sit and he needs to, you know, we need to leave quickly without disturbing as many of the people as we can. So that is why we sit there. And my husband, you know, if he's having a rough time, he just takes him out, you know, the back. And that is, you know, how we get through those times. I had to take a break. I was talking so much, I needed some water. Okay, so communion. How does Michael receive the host? He does it exactly the same way as you and I would. Again, it's a hand over hand or hand under hand in his case. But I wanted to share with you that if your church is willing, we were able to be sent home before he made his communion with some hosts that have not been blessed. So these, you know, are practicing hosts, as I like to call them. And, you know, they're just so he can get used to taking it. And, you know, it is us putting our hand under his hand. He can reach in and he can put it in his mouth. We have been practicing this and still practicing this since then. If there are some time periods when we're not able to go to church, and that is really due because Michael is having, you know, some intense behaviors that it's not possible for us to go, and we don't go for a few weeks, a month or two, then when we start again, we have to practice again. So this is why we keep these here. But if you can ask your church if they could provide you with some hosts that have not been blessed, and you can practice with your child as well. Okay, lesson plans. This is how we do it. There is I'm gonna go ahead and insert somewhere in this video, maybe after the video, what pictures of what I'm talking about. I don't have them physically here because, you know, they belong to the church, so I didn't want to, you know, ask to take them out. First thing what we do when we get to class is, you know, his teacher will, you know, kind of get an idea of how he is, how he was that day, how he is going to be in class for the time that we're there. Once she kind of assess how he's doing, usually we start off with him doing, giving him some time for sensory. And what we do is we have beads with us, and I know I have beads somewhere around here, so I could show you. I don't know. They're probably right in front of my face, but basically Mardi Gras beads that you get at a Dollar Tree, dollar store. And, I carry them with me. She has some with her. Any kind of poppets. And we give him some time in the beginning of class to just, work through that extra energy. He just got out of school, so, sitting down to do, more work, is sometimes asking a lot of him. So we try to monitor and see how he's doing. And once he gets all that little extra energy out, we tell him break is over, please come back to the table, and he does. Very rarely does he give us a hard time, I'd have to say. He is, prepared to work. And so we start out with what is called Catholic bingo. And it is basically a bingo game. That it is a bingo card, and in each of the bingo spots is a different symbol. It could be the chalice, it could be the altar, it could be the priest, it could be the communion host, it could be the sacraments, the words, marriage, a couple being married, a baby being baptized, all different, various different things that symbolize our religion in the Catholic Church. We have then, we do not play the traditional bingo with him. What we do is we use it for matching. So she will give him the bingo card in front of him, and she will take out a card with a picture, and it will have, a matching picture, hopefully, and she will tell him what the picture is, and ask him to match it to the bingo card if it's there. And that is what we start every single lesson with. He does great with it. I am going to insert a video of that so you can see him play the bingo. That day, I think he was a little bit off, but for most days, he's able to match them pretty quickly. And that is how we start our lesson.
About today, this is marriage. They're getting married. Show me marriage. Good job. And this one says Eucharist. Yeah, when we're done. Yeah, let's finish this work and then we'll put the chapstick on. Eucharist, good job. This is the Bible. It's the book that tells us all about Jesus. And the church, where's the church? Yeah, nice job.
After bingo is completed, then we go ahead and we move on to the actual lesson. She will follow the same exact lesson that Alex is having in his CCD class with his teacher, only we are doing it in a different way that is a little bit more understandable, that works better for Michael. That works better for Michael. So this past week this past few months we've been working on sacraments, and this week it was the anointing of the sick. So I thought I would just share with you how we do it. So she will print up these pages with very brief descriptions of the pictures, just to have him read along with her. And then these pictures are actually, I think you can see, are separated. So for each page, she has pictures to match to the pictures on the page. That's what I'm trying to say. And you can see. So we just, use a, glue stick to attach them. So he will go ahead and read with her. Not out loud, but you know what I mean. Okay, I had to take another drink of water. I'm talking way too much here. So this is just to give you an idea of how we do it. Every lesson plan every week is different. Some weeks it's a little bit more than just 3 pages. I've had, this is the one that we did. Let me show you this one. Of course, they're just different depending on the season, on what we're studying at that time, if it's Christmas, Easter, just different things. So she will also use pictures of us as examples if we're talking about family and, just different things like that. As you can see, they're very simple. And he just reads along with her, and we'll just match up the pictures to the pictures on the paper. And he does really well with it. And I think the one thing I like about it is that it's doable, and it is something that Michael may actually be able to comprehend because of the pictures and relating it to the story. I think it works really well for him. So that is how we do our lessons. I'm trying to think. if there was anything else. So, okay, again, lots of sensory breaks. The room that we use is the conference room in the church. So he's able to get up from the table, kind of run around the room. There's nobody there at that time. Excuse me. So it really does give him an opportunity to focus when he needs to, and then be able to get up and do, get out all his little, stims. So, excuse me again, let me take a drink of water. So I just wanted to give you, lastly, this is it, some tips and some things that I've learned along the way. Of course, my first thing would be is to have patience. If you think that your child is not up to doing this, then don't. That's really what it comes down to. You really have to know whether or not your child is able to do it. I think, maybe a few years ago, I questioned. Actually, I could be honest with you, it was just the beginning of this year. I did question for a while, a few weeks before we were starting again. I'm so sorry. I questioned, should I continue with Michael? And I think, to be honest with you, it was more about me than it was about him. And I quickly changed my mind and decided to keep going. I think I was questioning myself because other people were questioning. And that's one thing that I think you have to keep in mind. And I think one of the tips that I wrote, you have to listen to what Michael needs and how he responds to things. The most important thing is that he's never responded negatively, had a tantrum, had any kind of difficulty working during religious education. So I think that for me gave me the answer that I knew that yes, I'm going to keep going. He is going to make that confirmation. I am not going to, just give up on him, our faith, or our religion, because it's important. It's an important part of my life, and I want it to be important to him as well. My other tip would be to say, expect the unexpected. You may not believe that you may be surprised to find out that your child can do the sign of the cross, that he can receive communion if that is something you do in your church, that he is able to sit through a whole mass without any problems. Expect the unexpected, because sometimes those are the best surprises you will get. What else? Be open to having the plan change that day. There's some days that after Michael comes home from school, I can't get him back in the car to go to CCD, and that's okay. It's okay. It is what it is, and you have to just keep moving on. So he doesn't go 1 week. It's not that big of a deal. I have to remind myself that is not that big of a deal. And just remember, more importantly, that God loves your child. He loves you. He loves us. And he wants them to, be a part of his world. And he certainly didn't give them a disability to exclude them from that world. So I highly encourage you, and just go for it. And lastly, negative feedback. You may come across family, friends, neighbors, social media. Say, why would you take your son, who doesn't even talk, to church CCD? Is it really that important that he makes his communion? Why do this? Why do that? Stick to what you feel in your gut. Let it go. People are going to have their opinions, and they're going to tell you one way or another what you should or should not do. And that goes with everything, as you all know. Our world today is a tough one. It's not the same as it was that I grew up in. And having your faith is what's going to get you through a lot of difficult times. And my mom always used to say, with God by your side, anything is possible. And I truly believe that, and I truly believe it for your family too. So I am going to go ahead and link some of the things that we use in Michael's CCD class. I think they're available on Amazon. I'm not even sure. I have to check. We often, just to use what she provides us there. So we don't really have to, bring a lot of materials. He doesn't have a book like Alex does. What we do use in class, I will link below. I'm also going to link a special prayer for kids on the spectrum. It's a prayer that was given to me, and I think it's just a really special prayer. And maybe, you can read it, when you do your prayers, if you pray, and certainly I understand if you don't have time to pray, it is so hard, but that's a discussion for a whole other video. So just remember, God's listening any time of the day. And that's what I, usually try to do. But I hope that you found this video helpful. If you have, please let me know in the comments below. If you are a special needs parent, please let me know if you have taken your child to church, how that has gone, and just, share what your experiences have been. I'm always curious to see, what other families do when it comes to, their faith. I thank you so much for watching. I hope it wasn't too long and drawn out. I really appreciate you taking the time to stop by. If you are new, I hope that you would consider subscribing and being a part of my family here on YouTube. I'd love to have you. And I will see you next week. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you for watching.